Good morning, my friends. I'm so pleased that you all came back to see me. Uh, I wanted to do a final on the super soil. Not that I plan to stop using it, hopefully ever. Um, I think it's a little on the expensive side, but for what you're using, I use a quarter of a teaspoon. This is 100 grams, and I'm using maybe, I don't know what, 2 grams in a gallon, or maybe, a little less than that. And I used 6 gallons in rainwater, um, and then wet this down originally, and then I came back a couple days later and I found a couple dry spots. And so I went ahead and watered it again. And the whole idea is that more microbes, more humus, more power. I thought that was well said, because you're growing your bacteria in this. And even this has been today is the 2nd of April, and I started the 1st of March. So it was like, four, little over 4 weeks. Uh, not even 5 weeks yet, and I'm just clawing at it because it's so pretty. But anyway, it's a great product, and it says, "We stand up for the Earth's soil in a world that treats it like dirt." I just love that line. Whoever thought of it was genius. But I did it as a two-sided experiment. I'm going to put this to the side because I don't want it to burst open or anything. But anyway, it says you can use it in a sprayer, and you can actually do like a foliar spray, or you could do it to your ground. But the whole idea is that you keep it close to the soil, so that you're spraying these bacteria spores. Would that be the right word? That you're spraying the bacteria on your soil, and then they grow. They get into your soil, and then they just multiply and multiply. So for anybody who hasn't watched this before, the experiment was, I had been feeding. This is my yard Felicio bin, and I call him Junior because he's shorter than the guy over there who's almost twice his height, and I call Senior. They call them Original and Mini. But anyway, this is Junior, who we just love. And Junior got some of the compost from Senior that had been growing and breaking down and what have you. When I say growing, I mean I kept adding to it, and so it was breaking down and breaking down and breaking down. And I started that back in October. I didn't have bags and bags of stuff. This is just me doing it from my household things. And so as Senior started to break down, and then I got Junior for Christmas, Nick the gardener, who's in England, really great program, really great channel, said you need to take some of Senior and move it into Junior, and that will inoculate that compost. So this has been growing for, well, since October, but then a lot of it was added in January with all fresh, and started mixing it up. So I mean, it looks kind of done, but there's still a lot of particles that haven't quite broken down. You can see there's worms in it. Oops, sorry guys. That was diving off the diving board. But anyway, so then a month ago I started with Junior, and I started with all fresh, and it was grass clippings, shredded cardboard. There was some worm castings in there, and probably a few cocoons, but nothing, I wasn't pulling it out of my worm bin. This was all castings that had been sifted. And I made the mistake of putting in some crepe myrtle. We put it through the chipper shredder, and there were parts of it that were really chunky. And I thought, well, I'll just put down cardboard and I'll put that as the layer. And I shouldn't have added that, because it kept coming up from the bottom as I was trying to use my twister aerator. But just real quick, 4 months later or 7 months later, however you want to figure this out, but let's just say 4 months later, you're getting some, but I'm going to try and reach over. You can still see there's particles in there of the shredded cardboard. Now this side is only 1 month, and other than these pieces that were from the bottom that are breaking down, within a week, I was seeing worm activity. And I've never seen worm activity in a compost pile or bin after a week. And I mean, they're through here. I'm looking at small ones, but it's just, it's just amazing. I mean, they're tiny, but they're worms. It's not something else. But all of the papers have turned brown. You're not seeing the color anymore, and it's very it has stayed very, very moist and crumbly. Now this is the crepe myrtle, that I've been, and so anyway, so I set it all up March 1st. And then a couple days later, I went in and I turned it over, and then I found a couple dry spots, so I added a couple more gallons of rainwater with the SuperSoil in it. And again, I only added a quarter of a teaspoon. I mean, the company is from Ireland, and they're trying to break into the U.S. That's probably not the best word to say, but try to spread their sales to the U.S. And so they asked me if I would try it, and I think a lot of it is because I'm not a big company. I'm just a small gardener. My property is only 50 by 125, and I have a 2,000 square foot house that sits on it, along with sidewalks and everything else. I have a small garden. I garden in my pots. I garden in all the edges and everything. Mainly flowers, but a few little, a pot of carrots or some lettuce or just some small tomatoes, what have you. But I like the idea that I'm going organic and that I can grow things without constantly having to spray. And because I'm the person that if I'm spraying and I'm touching this stuff, I break out in rashes and I have sinus problems. And so I'm always looking for a natural alternative where I can live with nature without fighting against nature. So anyway, that was all I wanted to show you, was that this product really is. And I'm looking down for worms that I can show you. Oh, there's one. Oh my God, they're flying around. I said that to Rick. They're like fish flying around because every time I come over here and I turn this or scrape it, so I find worms. So anyway, after the second day and turning it, then I came back either every 2 days or every 3 days. At the same time I turned this, I turned the older. So it wasn't that one was getting the attention and the other wasn't. They were both getting the same attention. I think now what I'm going to do, now that I've told the company that I thought they had a great product, I am going to take these out and then incorporate the whole thing, turn everybody over, and see how fast this whole thing finishes off. I think that would be a great product, or a great project. And I would guess that this is 1st of April. I'll bet by the 1st of May I am ready to use this as a finished compost. So anyway, that was for anybody who was interested and followed along all 4 weeks and wondered, where did she go? Because I was doing it on Saturdays. But we had some rain and, the Christmas, Easter and what have you. There. And they look like, I can't quite make them out. Where are you going? He's on his way. Can you see? He's going somewhere. What's the old line? Whoops. I don't know where we're going, but we're making great time. So I think that will be the next experiment is just, or the next project maybe is just, in a few weeks I'll show you what it looks like when it's all finished. I think it'll be beautiful, and by then I'll be really ready to give everybody a good boost of healthy bacteria. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I thank you for coming and seeing me, and I hope to see you back real soon. Bye-bye.